Garry Connolly. As said, I'm president of Host in Ireland, which is effectively a co-opetition, which is shorthand for a collaboration between people who don't really like each other that much. So what we have is we've effectively got a group of people together who work in the co-location managed services industry. And this particular slide here represents, we like rugby, okay? And since we started to be very successful at rugby, we like it even more. But each time we win the championship, which we've done back to back, nobody ever says the Irish are so great, that they've done the right things the right way, 15 years of academy, nah. It's always things like our best players were injured in Wales, the scrum didn't work for England, etc. They never can actually say, you know what, the Irish have done it the right way in the formation, and that's why they won, right? And that's what the data center industry in Ireland reminds me of. We can't just win something. They always have to say, it's because of, right? So what I hope to demonstrate to you is we've done the right things the right way, and that's why there's so much content hosting in Ireland. That's Ireland. I know it's a very technical group, and I really do know where Ireland is, and it's not beside the Great Lake of Erie. That's closer to Dublin in Ohio, I guess, but that's the size and scale of Ireland. We've 4 million people, which is exactly just above the same number of inhabitants of Manhattan Island at any one day is 4.2 million. We're just above that. So if you can imagine, that's what we're dealing with. And this is what we've achieved over the last 60 years. We've been able to attract, retain, and also go forward with an awful lot of the industries that you guys in North America and Europe would see as being the fabric of all industry. I'm not going to delve into this too much. There's Joe and there's also Ken from the IDA, and that's their job. They get paid to tell you all about the great things that these industries do. So let's go back 10 million years, and whoever made the earth was dishing out to the different countries what they were going to get. And they gave us lots of grass, they gave us loads of rain, and they gave us great people, okay? And what that meant was 3 things we're well known for. And the first 2 give us the per capita in the world. We have the very best agribusiness you'll ever see. The best milk, that makes the best cheeses, etc. And also then obviously the best golf courses in the world. So that's what the rain and the grass has given us. The people is actually all that's left. We don't have any gold, we don't have any diamonds, we don't have any oil, we don't have any iron ore, so we have to be innovative, right? We've got to go and we've got to convert the world to being Irish. We've 41 million converted in North America, let's say they're Irish American, and on top of that we've got another 29 million. So whatever we're doing, we're converting, probably with what you had last night, Guinness, because we don't have an army. So we can't convert and we can't globalize with anything other than what we are and what we export. So that's what we've got. So to talk about data, I really should have changed this and got it to being a potato. But when the good people in Myriad Genetics came up with this, it's all about context, because I don't certainly know what a zettabyte is. I don't know if people in the audience, based on what I heard previously, you probably did, you probably invented it, you're probably the fathers of it, all of you, of these terms. But effectively, you can fill the Pacific Ocean with a zettabyte of data. And Cisco have just announced, with their cloud expansion, etc., that there'll be 11.7 or 11.8 zettabytes of data by the year 2019. So think about that for a second. Now, 11 Pacific Oceans full of a grain of rice. That's a lot of rice. And we want to have as much of that is practically possible hosted here in Ireland. As Gavin said earlier, and I picked up on it in the previous speaker, we're really just reverting to fit-for-purpose computing, right? Cloud is going to revert back to the mainframe. Mainframe plus the controller, common controller, fit-for-purpose compute. You do some out in the wiring station, you do some in the local data center, you'll have IoT, but it all has to come back to somewhere, and that we want to have in Ireland. We look at data as the cheap chocolate in Walmart. It gets you in. For us, the dividend of data and the dividend for some of our policies are jobs. That's why we want the data, because we want all the data scientists, because they get paid 150 grand a year, they get nice cars, they need mechanics, they also need guys to feed them, they need guys to sleep with them. It's just an ecosystem. We don't have oil, we don't have any other stuff. We take all credit for everything, as you know, when it's successful, and I really felt that we should have had an NIA back in 1850, whatever. because the very first transatlantic or off-island fibre, it wasn't fibre, it was copper, from the origination of Comscope over here, was actually between Nova Scotia and Ireland. It worked, but it fried some poor radio operator 3 weeks after it was connected by a thing called capacitance. They forgot that there's different capacitance between different, so it fried, and the poor chap got nailed down in Lisdole. And there's just a shadow of a man where one used to be. So we take the credit, and actually, the irony of this is that the person who just raised the money to land the most recent fibre optic cable is here as well. Diane Hodnick over here, who raised the money for Aquacons, who popped Ballina. So we have a long history in this type of thing. We've been doing it for a long time. The cables have changed. We understand that there's capacitance. We understand the value of data. So if we go on the journey, I think many people yesterday were talking about platform. I call it the waves of change. I'm lucky or unlucky to have come in around the mainframe and the MIDI, but I think it's fairly well accepted that these are the waves of change that have taken place in the ICT industry. Ireland has done okay. Talking to some kids in the college in Trinity on Monday, they actually couldn't believe, if IBM were still here, that IBM was cool once. But they were. IBM, Nixdorf, Wang, you know, it was like working for Etsy, it was like working for Google, it was like working, you said, I'm working for Wang. Whoa, Wang, you know? They couldn't believe that. But that's the irony, is that Ireland has always been able to, through our policies and our pedigree, attract the Google, Etsy, Dropbox, whoever, of its day, right? So there's a lot of detractors that talk about foreign direct investment, of which in Ireland, I'm sure the idea will tell me I'm wrong, there's 1,200 to 1,300. 900 of those organizations are from North America. I can trace back to Intel, who are main sponsor. Intel wouldn't be in Ireland if it wasn't for digital. You know, it's the ecosystem that they create. The digital corporation and those corporations on the left, they're still being felt right the way through. But for us, when we get back to data hosting and data centers, it's really about the media. So if you look at the top, what's the difference between an IBM XT with 2 floppies with an application in one hand and a data disk on the other, and the cloud and your iPhone 5? Very little. Application data is just the medium with which it's delivered. So for us, data centers, let's forget about the centers for a second and make sure that you're absolutely looking after the data. If you understand the data, you understand you need centers. Talking about data centers, and when I travel a lot around the world speaking, I go to countries and they're all about data is the new oil and we are the best place for data centers. So to me, what they're saying is data is the new oil and we make great barrels. Everybody can get barrels. I can ring up Cold Modular, I can ring AST, and I want data centers made to spec, I want them delivered in 40-foot containers. What's that all about? It's all about the data. When you have the data, you need the centers. When you have the oil, you need the barrels. So it's the way that we deliver the medium. That's all. So, Dublin. There's a saying around Europe, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, that FLAP is the place to put your data in Europe. Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, and Paris. Well, we have been successful over the last 12 months in changing that to FLAP with a D at the end. Okay, so now we've got Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Dublin are the 5 leading locations. The big difference between those 4 and us, we don't have a financial bourse. Traditionally around the world, the biggest locations for hosting data centers or hosting data will be where there's a financial bourse, because those dudes don't care about any of the constraints of the rest of us. High frequency trading, 100 grand, you guys know that better than I do. We don't have any of that. We don't host any financial data. But talking and listening to a lot of the speakers the last 2 days, one of the things that's going to be certain is the uncertainty about interoperability. Some dude this morning said, if we could only find the stack, we might be able to start looking for the needle, right? That's amazing. But it's going to be data in Amazon, Google, AWS, Azure. It's going to be all over the place. Dublin is the only geographic location currently in Europe, possibly in the world, where there's all of those public platforms here in Dublin on the same ring, in the same sovereign location for data protection policy, etc. And we're not talking small pops. We're talking huge pops. These dudes in the data center industry measure everything in electrons. You guys probably work on photons. Data centers, all they do is change from photons to electrons, electrons to photons, and there's about 128 megawatts of electrons for the public cloud in Dublin. Biggest cluster of public cloud in the world outside of North Virginia. At the moment, we're about balance, so we're not all about the public cloud, guys. You probably read the press, you know that the likes of Telecity have 5 data centers here. They're about to be taken over by Equinix, which will put 5 more green dots on the map of Ireland. Telex have just been bought by Digital Realty. They've got 100 and something thousand square foot here as well. It's all American. We're an export-led industry. Software in Ireland and how we use our data, look at Azure that runs in Microsoft. All it is an evolution of what they used to do in '82 when they took Microsoft Word, they put it in a floppy disk, they put it into a box, they put it in a 40-foot container, they shipped it off. They're not doing anything different now. It's just called cloud and it's out of a big shed out in where it is, Grange Castle. We don't have an indigenous market. We're 4 million people, as I said earlier, of a population of 550 million Europeans. That's our market. So you can give or take, but our market is very unique in Europe. We don't have any indigenous. We're certainly putting ourselves in a position where we're attracting more US, and maybe the only one missing now is Alibaba. They'll probably come in with Equinix. Why are they staying? This is the key thing. We call it the power of the 5 Ps. Power and pipes are just a given. They're just a given if you want to be an optimal location for digital asset hosting. So go to Sweden and they talk all about energy and they talk all about pipes. Great, lovely. It's like this beautiful hotel here. It's a wonderful hotel, it's a great concierge. You like walking in and the guy said, would you like to come down and see the foundations? They're gorgeous. Beautiful cement, real soft, all beautiful. That's like talking about power and pipes. It's a given. If you want to be a relevant player in this space, you have to demonstrate the foundation to your building, right? Given. End of. So what is the other things that differentiate us? Policy. I said yesterday about Donald Trump. We made a decision 1999, 12.5% corporation tax? Mid-90s. Mid-90s, corporation 12.5%. Think of that to us as we do. Again, it's like the chocolate bar in Walmart. It gets you in and then you buy loads of other stuff. That's what we want. We want you to come in, we want your jobs. Therefore, data to us, and if you look at North Virginia, anecdotally, they brought in the data, and now they're the largest cluster of data scientists in the world. So data to us is actually not the end point, it's only the starting point. Because still in our human nature, even though cloud can be anywhere, any place, any time, we like to be close to it. We like to be closer to it than this obscure place somewhere else. Therefore, Ireland's policies, i.e. corporation tax, data protection, only two countries in Europe have both a data protection commissioner and a data protection minister. Ireland is one of them. Policies, pedigree, is we spoke about, and people. We've managed to convince 70 million other people outside of Ireland that they're Irish and close down Manhattan once a year, which I don't know how much that costs for that fellas on Fifth Avenue, but these are all the things that the Irish do and nobody seems to mind too much. Telecommunications, I felt it was appropriate since it's a gig for telecommunications. There has been a transatlantic fibre for 12 years. 2 of them come in this year, another one in 2 years' time. Diane's crew brought agri-columns across right the way through Ireland to the fastest route between London and New York. We've popped Cork, we've got another one in Berry Atlantic up north, and we've got 5 or 6 others in development that will certainly navigate the UK. Very important that we actually have alternate routes from Ireland to the EU without having to go through the UK. So, this is my last slide. I thought I was the last dude before lunch, that's why I put this one up. Not really, not really. I came out of college 30 years ago and I was full of Informix SQL, I was full of COBOL, Pascal, RPG, I was raring to go. And Peter Comerford, my first mentor, he gave me Orwell's Animal Farm, and I said, what the fuck is that? And he said, read that and you understand the IT industry. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 2 legs bad, 4 legs good. So mainframe back to cloud. You know, it's done. round and around, you know, round and around. Let's centralise, decentralise, spread it out. Ah, that's a bad idea. Let's centralise it again. He was spot on the money. This one is more important. There was a chicken and a pig walking down the road one day, right? And you know this joke? Yes. Don't. You've heard it before. Chicken and a pig walking down the road one day, just been laid off, and the chicken says to the pig, you know what we should do? We should open a restaurant tomorrow morning, and we should just sell bacon and eggs. And the pig thought this was a great idea. He had one question. He said, that's a great idea, and I like it, you're thinking the right way. But as far as I can see, you're involved in the breakfast, but I'm committed. Right? So, if you're looking for a geographical location who understands data, is committed towards data, we understand what it means. It's not just a transitionary point. We want the data. We understand the integrity data is important. Then Ireland is committed.